Good afternoon and welcome to the North Carolina Teacher Working Conditions Survey webinar. We're so happy you're joining us today. I'm Amy Lauder, the Regional Education Facilitator for the Western Region, and I'm joined by the other Regional Education Facilitators across the state, along with Alessandro Montanari, who is our DPI Coordinator for the survey. We want to start by just apologizing for the technical issues. Those of you who tried to get onto the live webinar and it just would not cooperate. We tried to put in a workaround and couldn't get that to work either. So hopefully you're able to watch this on your own schedule and calendar and make it work for you at a time that's convenient. So we appreciate your flexibility and grace with us as we've worked through some of these technical issues. We know your time is valuable and we really appreciate you for being here and also for the time that you will spend working with the survey in your school. Usually we would answer questions following this webinar, have a live question time. So we're working on developing an opportunity for that. If you're not able to join that live question time, I'm going to share the Regional Education Facilitators contact information at the end of this webinar, and you can contact us at any time and we're glad to help you. We want to begin, of course, again, by saying thank you for agreeing to serve as your school representative. There is no way this survey could be a success without you and your hard work. So thank you for the time and energy that you will put into it. You were recommended for this role because you're a teacher leader in your school, perhaps the school improvement team chairperson, maybe teacher of the year, NCAE representative. So just thank you for the role that you serve in our schools. Please note that there may be more than one representative in your school. Some principals sent us 2 different names, and also some schools have an NCAE representative on file. So all of you work together to promote the survey. There is one primary representative who is designated, and that person will have the packet of information that we're going to talk about. It will be addressed to them, to their attention. So just know that, but all of you work together, and we're going to talk about a couple of other items that the primary representative is going to be responsible for. If you are a principal attending this today, thank you so much for taking time to be here and learn about the logistics of the survey. You do need to pass the materials. If the materials are in error addressed to a principal, pass those on to a teacher representative in your school because we want this to be a teacher-led event. We also want to give a huge shout out to our partners who have worked with us to make our survey a success, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what they're doing for you later in the survey, later in the webinar. So the North Carolina Teacher Working Conditions Survey is an anonymous survey of teachers and licensed school-based educators to assess teaching conditions at the school, district, and state level, and to ensure teachers have the support necessary for effective teaching. It occurs every 2 years. This year is a collaboration between the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and the Academic Development Institute. This is the 11th iteration of the survey. Our last survey was in 2020, where we saw an almost 85% participation rate statewide, even though we experienced the shutdown of schools across the state in the middle of the survey due to the COVID pandemic. Prior to that, in 2018, we had almost 91% participation across the state. So we want to beat that 91%, and our ultimate goal is 100%. We really would love to hear from 100% of the teachers and licensed school-based educators across our state. The results of the survey are one component of the ongoing process for collaborative school and district improvement plans, and results are also used as artifacts in the educator and administrator evaluation instruments, and the data is ultimately used to drive instruction in our state. Your role as the school representative is to encourage each teacher in your school to participate in the survey and let their voices be heard. Previous findings, as well as nationwide research, show that teaching conditions are positively associated with improved student achievement and teacher retention. The North Carolina Teacher Working Conditions Survey provides educators with data, tools, and district support to facilitate school improvement. The North Carolina Teacher Working Conditions Survey includes questions on the topics that you see on the screen. Notice that new teacher support is included as a category for beginning teachers. And there also are questions specifically geared to school administrators. This year, we've added a short new section on the impact of the pandemic. You can view the questions for this year's survey by going to our website and clicking on the Resources tab. So speaking of our website, this is the link that will take you to our survey website. Be sure to bookmark it so you can visit it often throughout the survey window. It's the hub for everything you may need for the survey. Once you're on the site, when the survey opens, you'll be able to take the survey from the home page. You'll see a prominent button to click to take it. On the site, there are several different tabs that you can access, and we're going to look at those and dig in to see what all is available for you there. So if you click the survey results tab, you can see the data from the last 3 iterations of the survey. And a few weeks after our 2022 survey ends, the new results will be added. And this data is reported in several different ways. If you look at the orange arrow at the bottom of the screen there, if you may want to go in ahead of time before the survey just to familiarize yourself with the different reports that are available for you there. Under the FAQ tab, there's a helpful list of frequently asked questions regarding the survey. This is a great place for you to start if you have questions. Just click on the drop down to find your answers. There is also an opportunity to print out the FAQs if you would rather have a printed copy. The next tab we will explore is maybe the most helpful for you as a school rep working on the survey. The Resources tab contains many of the resources you'll need for the survey. Here you will find the questions for the survey, posters, survey letter samples, and the calendar of events, which we're going to look at closer in a moment. And then you're probably already on this page of our website if you are accessing our webinar, because this is where that is posted as well. We are also working to post our slide decks from the 2 webinars that we have had so that you'll have everything that you need to be successful. So looking at that calendar events a little bit closer, this is a great resource for you as a school rep. You can see that it tells you what you need to do each step of the way to be successful. And I would suggest you print this out and kind of use it as a checklist to make sure that you're doing everything you need to do, building up to the survey. As I said earlier, be sure to bookmark this site because it's the hub for everything you will need during the survey. If you need something, you should be able to find it on this site. You may also consider sharing this site with the educators in your school so that they learn more about the survey and build some excitement. So the next part of the webinar, we have tried to think of every question that you might have and try to answer that for you. So the first question is simple but important. When is the survey? The dates for this year's survey are March 1st through 31st, so the entire month of March. The survey can be taken any time of the day from school or home. In the past, there have been extensions given to the survey window, but please note that this year there will not be an extension given. The survey will begin on March 1st at 6 a.m. and ends on March 31st at midnight. And let me reiterate, March 1st at 6 a.m. when we talk about the prizes in a little while, you're going to want to know that opening time because that's going to come into play. So our next question is probably the most frequently asked question we receive. Who takes the survey? So the answer is every teacher and licensed school-based educator at your school should take the survey. Itinerant teachers are included in the head count for their primary assigned school, but they are welcome to take it at their other schools if they want to. If you have an itinerant teacher at your school who's not based there but wants to take the survey for your school, you can request an additional code for them through survey support, or they can request one for themselves. And we're going to talk about that process a little bit more as well in a little while. Administrators also take the survey, so make sure you count them in there and give them a code sheet as well. Just a note, because we do get questions about that principal taking the survey, they have questions specific for their role. They receive the code sheet just like anyone else. They don't have a special code sheet, but when they go into the survey, I've copied or posted the first question you're asked on the survey here on the screen, where you indicate your position, and it will populate the principal questions if they say they're principals. Another reason I put this little screenshot on here is because I think it's helpful for you in figuring out who you need to count in taking the survey. You know, don't forget your instructional coaches, literacy specialists, people like that. So also school counselors, don't forget all of those people when you're counting up who should take the survey at your school. Although instructional assistants are so very valued in our state, since they're not licensed educators, they are not eligible to participate. So, what is your role as a school rep? So your main role is to get your school to 100% participation. Make sure that the teachers in your school understand that the purpose of the survey is to improve school climate and culture and ultimately positively impact student learning. Also, ensure that teachers understand that their survey responses are totally anonymous and can't be traced back to any teacher no matter what. And a big responsibility is this logistics piece where you're distributing the materials. So like I mentioned earlier, the person listed as the primary school representative will receive that packet in the mail. It will have a poster for you to hang, and it will also have code sheets for every person in your school. So you can hand those out randomly. And if at any time you feel like a code has been compromised, you can get a new code through the survey support. You and your principal can work together if you want to designate a time for educators to have an uninterrupted time to take the survey, but make sure teachers understand that they are welcome to take that survey at home or anywhere with an internet connection. They do not have to do it there at the school. This seems like a simple question. How do I distribute the codes? But there are some important do's and don'ts for this. So the code sheets are going to arrive prior to the survey. To distribute the codes, the best thing to do is to organize a meeting, or if there's already a meeting organized prior to that for your school, get your principal to give you a little bit of time at that meeting to hand out the code letters. Keep track of anybody who is not at the meeting so that you know everyone has received a code letter. You'll have to give those to them later if they're not there. And then you can tell them right there, you're welcome to switch your codes letters if you want to, just so they know that these are anonymous. You've not assigned them to a certain teacher. The big do not down there is so important. Don't just place the code letters in teachers' boxes, because they get overlooked and lost when that happens. So make sure you do it face to face. So how will you receive the codes for your school? Here you can see a picture of the package that you will be sent. And it's going to contain the code sheets for each teacher along with a poster. These are going to be mailed next week, the week of February 14th, and will be addressed to the attention of the primary school rep. Sometimes these packages get lost in the shuffle of school mail, so maybe you might want to tell whoever receives your mail in the front office that you're expecting this navy blue envelope or box with the TWC logo on it. Also, if your school representative name changes here at the last minute, it may be addressed to the old name that we had on file. So be on the lookout for that. If you've changed your school reps at the last minute, maybe tell your person receiving mail, hey, when that comes, it's coming to me. We do receive tracking information for all packets, so we'll know when they've been delivered. And if it's lost, we can make sure you get more codes through survey support. So this is important. Listen closely to the next instruction. If you've not received your packet by February 22nd, contact survey support, because we want to make sure everyone in the state has their codes ready to go by March 1st. So we've talked a whole lot about survey support, and so you need to know how to contact them if the time comes. So there is a need help tab on our website, and you can go to that and you'll see that we have 2 ways that you can contact survey support. One is by email, which you can send emails at any time, and the other one is to call toll free, and there is a number there, and you'll see they're open from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. See if I needed to tell you anything else there. Also, if survey support, if they're not, if you haven't received your response in 24 hours, I'm going to give you the regional education facilitators contact info, and you can contact us at any time as well. We're here to make this whole process as easy and stress-free as possible. So we wanted to think of some scenarios of what might happen with code sheets and tell you what you need to do in those different situations. So first of all, if you don't receive enough code sheets, contact survey support and submit a request for the number that you need. And they'll send them to you electronically. The only codes that are being mailed out are the packets that are being mailed next week. Anything beyond that will be sent through email. If you receive too many code sheets, again, contact survey support. You would think that, okay, I've got more than what I need, I'll just throw the rest away and not worry about it. Don't do that, because it's important to make sure your head count is correct. You want to make sure that when everybody in your school has taken the survey, that it shows that you are at 100%. We're going to talk about some prizes that we're going to be giving, and you want to be able to be entered for those and just receive credit that you got to that 100% mark. So even if you receive too many, don't just trash them and forget about it. Contact survey support, make sure your head count is correct. Let's see, we had a little bit more on there I wanted to discuss. The change to head count cannot be changed once the survey closes. So after March 31st, we can't change your head count number, but it can be changed anytime throughout the survey window. So if you have somebody who's retiring March 12th, we can change your head count March 13th if you need us to, or whatever. So just know that that can be done by the principal or primary rep throughout the survey window. Okay, so this year we have added a new step that we are hoping is going to make it easy for everyone and make it to where we are ready to get started March 1st and everybody has the correct number of codes. So if you, as soon as possible, work with your principal to determine the head count number for your school, every teacher and licensed school-based educator for your school, and the slide says that you'll receive an email following the webinar. Because of our technical issues, primary reps have already received this email telling them what to do to check their head count and change it if needed. So you should have, primary reps should have this link. We sent it to primary reps only because we wanted only one person in the school entering a head count change so that we did not receive multiple different numbers. So primary reps, this is your responsibility. There'll be one link where you can check what your head count is. I put a little screenshot down here of that. So if you're in Henderson County Schools at Edneyville Elementary, your head count number should be 36. If you add up your teachers and licensed school-based educators in your school and it is not 36, there is another link that you can hit to change what that number is. You'll have to put your school name and your school ID, and then you can change your number. And that way, if we can get that information before packets are mailed, we're going to fix your packet so that you have the correct number of codes. If we receive it after packets have been mailed, you'll be emailed additional codes if you need them. And if you don't need additional codes, if your head count was set too high to begin with, we will just adjust your head count so that you know when you hit 100%, you're there. Okay. Again, this can be, if you're confused about this at all, your regional education facilitator is the one sending you this email with this link. So if you have questions, contact us back and we will help you work on those. So what if my code won't work? Once in a while this happens, and we have tried so hard to put everything into place to make sure it doesn't happen, but some things are out of our control. So if it happens, either you as the school rep or the person, the teacher or educator themselves who is having an issue with their code can contact survey support. If you haven't gotten an answer in 24 hours, contact your regional education facilitator. I'm thinking this year, because we do have a phone line, that you should be able to get pretty immediate assistance and get that taken care of. The one issue that we have seen a lot is they are emailing your new code. So if you're not receiving it, sometimes it's stuck in your spam folder. So check that as well. Sometimes that's the issue that we're seeing. Every iteration of the survey, we get questions about, is this really anonymous? I think my principal can see what I'm putting for my responses. So we want to make sure everyone understands that we have put several things into place to make sure that the survey is truly anonymous. It's important that people understand that. Teachers are not assigned a specific code. As I mentioned earlier, they're welcome to exchange their code letters just to make them feel better about, okay, nobody could possibly know what my code is. Have them exchange them 2 or 3 times if you feel like that's a concern that people have in your school. Please know that even if there was a record of teachers and specific codes, there would be no way for it to be accessed. Also, demographic information such as years of experience is not shared even when requested at the school or district level. The best practice is for school representatives rather than administration to distribute codes. Also, as the school representatives, please ensure that no administrator is in the room when the survey is completed. If a teacher feels like the code has been compromised, he or she can go to the help desk, survey support on the website to request a new code. And also, please note again that a school cannot receive data unless there are at least 5 participants and 40% participation. And that's a big part of our anonymity process. Okay, so we've talked a whole lot about reaching 100%. And you may be thinking, okay, so what happens then? So we're excited about some incentives that we're going to be able to give throughout the survey window this year. So be sure to encourage everyone to get to that 100% so you can maybe receive some of these prizes. So our first round of prizes are awarded on the first day. The fastest overall school, the first school in the state to reach 100%, gets $1,500. And then we have subcategories of that. The first elementary school, the first middle, the first high, all receive $1,000. Then we have the first district prize. That's $1,500 awarded to the first district to reach 100%. Each week, we're going to have a $500 drawing among all the schools who reach 100%. And then this is one of our favorite prizes called the Nick of Time Prize. And it's for the last school to reach 100% on the final day, which is March 31st, so that one school can purchase their staff a celebratory breakfast or lunch for reaching 100% in the nick of time. And remember that the survey will end when the clock strikes midnight on April 1st. So you have the entire day of March 31st to complete the survey. I can see some strategizing maybe going on for that one. And finally, we have our finale drawings, which are among all the schools who have reached 100% throughout the survey. These include 2 PD opportunities from NCAE and one of my favorite awards, the Rallying Representative Award, which will be gift cards to the representatives at the schools who were drawn, just to thank you for your hard work. So we want to give another shout out to our partners who have made all of these prizes possible. We really appreciate their support. We have provided a lot of information, so you may be feeling a bit overwhelmed and wondering, what do I do and when? So remember the calendar of events I mentioned earlier from the resources page. It's an easy way for you to remember everything you need to do to make the survey successful in your school. Let's take a look at it closer. So the first step is something you can do today. Bookmark the website, check out how your school did in 2020, and set that goal to reach 100% participation. You can also share the website with others at your school to increase awareness that the survey is coming. If you didn't reach 100% in 2020, try to identify what may have kept educators from completing it and plan proactively to eliminate real or perceived barriers. And it may help this year that we're hopefully not going to have a statewide shutdown due to a pandemic in the middle of it. Okay, the next step is simply to watch for your packet to arrive. Primary reps, you can go ahead now to work with your principal to count how many teachers and licensed school-based educators are at your school. And then be sure to respond to the head count link we will send following, or we've already sent it, if your head count isn't correct. Once the packet arrives, make sure you have the correct number of code sheets. If the number isn't correct, or if you don't receive your packet by February 22nd, contact survey support. I know this slide says February 24th, and that was our original date, but we have even pushed that back a couple of days earlier just to make sure everybody is ready to go on March 1st for the survey. Sometime before March 1st, hand deliver the code sheets to each teacher and licensed school-based educator at your school. The easiest way to accomplish this is to hand them out at a faculty meeting. Remember that it's best not to stick them in teachers' boxes because they tend to get lost or overlooked. Tell teachers they're welcome to exchange the sheets in order to increase their confidence that their responses are indeed anonymous. And in the days leading up to the survey, hang the posters in a visible location and just remind teachers that the survey is coming up. Throughout the survey, monitor your school's response rate on the website. Response rates will be updated in real time. Continue to encourage everyone to complete the survey so your school will reach 100% participation. Contact survey support with any questions or issues that arise. Your regional education facilitator is also here to assist you with questions or needs. This map shows the ref for each region, and I will share contact information as well. I'm going to go ahead and click to that. You should have been receiving emails from your regional education facilitator, so you should already have our contact info. The email that you received regarding this webinar recording was from your regional education facilitator, so you should have that. If not, or if you just want to have it, go ahead and jot it down now so that you have our email and phone number handy. We're glad to help you at any time. Normally at this time, we would have a question and answer period. Since this is simply a recording at this point, like I said, we are working on setting up an opportunity for that next week. We will send out information about that. If I know you already set one afternoon aside for this and it didn't work out because of our technical difficulties, so if you can't join that, no worries. You can contact your regional education facilitator at any time and we will help you with whatever questions you have. Also, remember that survey support is available at any time as well. And we just want to thank you again for the time and energy you're going to put into making the survey a success at your school. And we hope to see that 100% response rate from your school and across the state of North Carolina. Thank you.